All right, we're going to go ahead and do our video here. So this is our first video of a little mini series where we're just going to talk about Kerbal Space Program, and we're going to do it quick. We're not going to get too lengthy in it. So it's going to be short videos that just show you how to get up and get playing. So here you can actually see that this is the Kerbal astronaut. There's this little complex here that we have on Kerbin, which is a planet. So it is important we talk about some basics before we get started. Kerbin is a planet inside the Kerbal solar system. We have um, a, a planet that's about 1/6 the size of Earth. So that's just so that if it was Earth size, of course, all the features would be much flatter, and the dynamics of how we actually do things would be much different as far as the real complex math. But the basics of orbital science and that kind of thing and the physics of it is gives us kind of an armchair perspective of how to get stuff into space, and it's still pretty good simulator. It's more like it's a game. It's not real accurate, but it's still it taught me a whole heck of a lot about space travel. So I hope it teaches you stuff too. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make a rocket and we're just gonna fly it. Okay. Uh, and then after that, we'll talk about orbit, going to the moon, going to the planets, that kind of thing. So here we're gonna start off in the vehicle assembly building. We're gonna build just a little rocket and we're gonna fly it. So we can call it LilRocket. There we go. Okay, so you can see here the basics are I have a command pod. I have a little separator in there. So here's like the separator piece, which are all found over here. It's coupling, and that breaks off this next stage. So there's liquid fuel inside here, an oxidizer, and that's what's required for a rocket in space. Of course, we need oxidizer because we don't have the air coming in. And then I grabbed a little Reliant liquid fuel engine, right? Reliant. Now, here's one thing that's important to realize is that when we're talking engines, there's two of this size. There's the Reliant, and then there is the swivel. Now, the swivel has better control, but it doesn't have as much power. But the Reliant has more power. There's a single little Kerbin guy down inside here, and you can see I have my stages over here to the right. So I have the main stage, and then the separation stage, and then the parachute. That is literally it. That's our rocket. Okay, so let's go ahead and fly this thing. So you're just going to hit launch, and this will go to the main astronaut complex. There are two others that you can actually launch from, two other launch pads, but this is the default, and I like this guy. Okay, so you see here's our stages over here. Each time I hit space, I'm going to be able to use another one of these devices. And we'll modify that more later when we make more complex stuff. Okay, so I'm going to turn on my SAS, which is my kind of stability control. So I'm going to hit P, that turns that on, right? RCS, don't worry about that. We don't have any equipment installed right now. I'm going to go up the throttle with Shift. I could drop it with Control. I can make it all the way with Z, or I can cut it completely with X. So that's kind of important. You can see my video card's glitching just a little bit, but that's okay. You can see right here the compass headings that we can actually, navigate with, and we can use the W, A, S, and T keys in order to navigate on the gimbal here. We have due north, of course, that'll head towards the North Pole, and then the compass heading 180 is going to head due south, 270, and then 090. So with that, we can navigate around the planet. So here, real simple. We're just going to give our guy a ride. I'm going to go ahead and hit it full throttle, right? And then activate the stage, and we'll have a launch. So I want to activate the stage with space. There we go. We are launching. Okay. Now, a couple things of note here. Up here, got my altitude in meters, of course, and then above sea level, and then we have. Let's see, we're actually going a little fast. I want to stay below 300 meters a second if I can, because I'm just going to get a lot of wind resistance, right? We'll do a little turn here. Okay, so I got my little turn. and I'm just playing around with actually moving it around on that gimbal. Okay, up here's my atmosphere. You can see how far I am through the atmosphere. So I'm in the upper stages, so I'm not going to hit as much air. So I'm going to go ahead and cook it up all the way. And now we can really start going quick. Wow, this little guy worked a little bit better than I expected. Okay, so let's see here. What do we got? Now we go to the map. We took off from Kerbal. We really got some speed going. Now the peak of our arch here, known as the apoapsis, is at 211,000 meters, which is well above where I would need to be, considered above the atmosphere, right? So we can see in our arch we're out of fuel, but we are going to land at a pretty significant distance away from Kerbal. Now, away from our original launch site. I'm going to go ahead and move here. We can warp, click on the arch, and I can go warp here. And we're going to shoot over, and now we're going to make re-entry into the atmosphere. So let's see how we do that. Okay, so we want to hit our stage, drop that guy off with space. Okay, I don't want to hit the shoot yet. And one special thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit here. It says we have SAS. These are the stability SAS controls. Think of them kind of like an autopilot almost, or stability autopilot. And it locks it onto different things on the gimbal. So prograde means that it would go the top of our capsule would be in the same direction that we are traveling. Retrograde means that we're going to have the bottom going towards the direction that we're traveling. So I'm going to go retrograde. There we go. Now I didn't put any heat shielding on here, so this guy's probably not going to make it. But you know what? Actually, I think we might be okay because we're going. If you to put it in the concept for you, 300 meters a second would be about Mach 1. Okay, so we're going. I don't know, what would that be, Mach 5 or 6? My math is not very good. So here we go. So we're going to start coming in the atmosphere. We see here's the atmosphere here. We should just be touching the outer limits of it. There we go. Heat looks good. And about 5,000 meters is when I'm going to activate that. It'll go from red to gray. Look at that heat. But we're losing some speed here, so hopefully the heat doesn't go all the way. Come on, crew capsule, don't explode. Okay, there we go. The other parts exploded. I heard them blow up. Normally you'd put a little heat shield on there to help protect your guy. So we made it all the way to the desert. Luckily, we're going to splash down in some water. We're still traveling pretty fast. Here we go. And down to 5,000. And hit space and we'll deploy our chute. And it won't open up all the way. There we go. And it'll open up all the way and we'll really slow down. Okay, so there we go. Now we're down to about 5 or 6. Usually you want to land it's usually below 10 meters a second. So 5 meters a second is just fine for on Kerbin. And that's kind of the rate that we're going to start smacking into things, okay? So I can actually speed up time with the, let's see here, the comma and period keys and the little arrows above them. So you can see I can get up to 4 times normal speed. You don't want to sit through this whole part here. There we go, we got splashdown. Okay, so we splashed down in pretty far. Look at that, we're about a quarter way around the planet. So, pretty good. Okay, that's it. That was our first flight. Very simple little rocket. Talked about how to move on the gimbal, basic reentry stuff. We're going to get more complex as we go on, but I don't want to take up too much time here. So this is casual, and till the next one.